And I just want to ask the evergreen question. We've reported, and other media outlets have reported as well, that the administration is looking at furthering a big $18 billion aircraft package, weapons package to Israel. We reported that earlier this week. And looking at President Biden's statement last night, saying like this is not a one-off, and you've just talked about the number of humanitarian workers who've been killed. There are a lot of journalists who've been killed. Doesn't this kind of, like, given the accusations of disregard for non-combatants by the IDF, doesn't this kind of incident make U.S. stop and reconsider its arms sales or military aid to Israel?
So let me say two things with respect to that question. Number one, with respect to some of the reporting that we've seen over the past few weeks about arms transfers or potential arms transfers to Israel, some of which we have not officially notified to Congress and have not moved forward on at all. But a lot of those are with respect to weapon systems that would not be delivered for years. Long after, hopefully, the conflict in Gaza has been resolved. It's something.
But I'm not entirely.
I just want to say, I think it's important to because it does go to the exact point. We have had a long-standing security relationship with the state of Israel that predates this administration, that predates the current government in Israel, and that has existed through Democratic and Republican administrations in Washington and through governments of different parties in Israel, because we are committed to Israel's long-term security. So when I get questions, and I see some of the reporting about arms transfers or potential arms transfers to Israel, some of which started years ago or approved years ago, and some of which relate to systems that won't be delivered until years down the road. I think it's important to put in context that those relate to our overall security relationship with Israel and our overall commitment to Israel's defense against a number of adversaries that it faces in the region that are committed to the destruction of Israel. Now, with respect to the question I know that you're getting at, which we've addressed a number of times here, we continue to be committed to Israel's defense, but we continue to press them consistently to ensure that they fully comply with international humanitarian law, and critically, that when they do make mistakes, as they very obviously did yesterday, that they are transparent about those mistakes, that they investigate them, and if appropriate, there's accountability.
I'm not entirely sure how the delivery date for this being down the line 4 years, 5 years has an impact on your decision making today, because you're making the decision today with the information that you know there are various accusations about Israeli military's conduct in Gaza. Elsewhere, there are incidents that the State Department is looking at whether Israel has breached international rules like humanitarian law. So I'm not entirely sure how relevant it is that the delivery of those are down the line. But just one last thing. You said a minute ago, so you talked about misidentification. Are you referring to the video of Israel Chief of Staff, or are you?
Correct.
Yeah,
correct.
And
the
also,
statement he said publicly.
Is that what U.S. government have been told, that it was a misidentification?
They have told us. They have told us the same things privately that they have said publicly.
But that they took the strike, but they weren't aware that it was a WCK convoy.
I am not going to. They have. As I said. The thing that the point about misidentification that General Halevi said in that public statement is what they have communicated to us privately. I'm not going to get further into the conversations, but ultimately what's important is that they conduct an investigation to identify how that mistake happened, exactly how it happened, and what they can do to prevent it from happening in the future.